Chosen one, listen carefully, because what I'm about to reveal is not for everyone. It's only for those who have endured, persevered, and remained faithful when the world couldn't see their worth. Today, you've reached a level that very few will ever understand, level 777. This is not just a number, it is a divine declaration from Allah Himself. Finally, someone did it. Every trial you survived, every silent struggle, every tear you shed in solitude has led you to this very moment. People may have doubted you, dismissed your efforts, or questioned your vision, but Allah's plan never wavered. He has been shaping you, refining you, and preparing you for a reality that only the chosen ones can comprehend. Today, your patience, your faith, and your resilience are being honored. Your journey has unlocked doors that were invisible to the rest of the world, doors that lead to unprecedented power, spiritual clarity, and divine recognition. Sit tight, because in this video, we're about to uncover 7 powerful lessons that explain why you've reached this level, why Allah celebrates you, and why your destiny is now unstoppable. This is your moment, your awakening, your divine confirmation, your level 777. Chosen one, understand this with every fiber of your being, every tear you shed in private, every night spent in silent longing, every moment you endured doubt, rejection, or misunderstanding was never wasted. It was meticulously orchestrated by Allah to prepare you for this very moment of awakening, this unlocking of level 777, this divine acknowledgement that the heavens have been waiting to proclaim. Finally, someone did it. Patience was never a passive state for you, it was an active, sacred exercise in trust, a practice of unwavering reliance on Allah when the world seemed deaf to your efforts, blind to your struggles, and indifferent to your brilliance. Every delay, every obstacle, every person who overlooked you, every door that remained closed, and every opportunity that seemed lost, were in truth divine instruments designed to fortify your heart, sharpen your character, and expand your spiritual capacity so that when your moment arrived, you could carry it with wisdom, composure, and an unshakable connection to the Almighty. Your patience built a resilience that could not be broken, a clarity that could not be clouded, and a light that could not be dimmed. For Allah sees what no human eye can see and knows the value of your endurance in ways that surpass worldly understanding. What felt like waiting, what felt like silence, what felt like being unseen, was in reality a sacred preparation, a divine calibration, and a spiritual upgrade that has now manifested in this recognition, this unlocking, this level 777. The people who once doubted you may now be astonished, but for Allah, this has always been certain. Your patience was never in vain, your struggles were never wasted, and your steadfast heart has earned a reward that no human measure can contain. Let this truth settle deeply into your soul. Every trial you faced was a seed planted by Allah, watered by your faith, nurtured by your endurance, and now fully blossomed into the recognition, honor, and elevation that was always destined for you. Chosen one, listen closely, for this is a truth that most hearts cannot comprehend. You have been elevated to a level where your vision, your insight, and your awareness operate beyond ordinary human perception. And this is why level 777 is not just a milestone, it is proof of your divine calibration and your spiritual evolution. While the world remains trapped in surface-level understanding, counting what is visible and measurable, you are seeing patterns, truths, and connections that others cannot even begin to imagine. You sense outcomes before they manifest. You discern intentions before they are spoken. And you navigate life with a clarity and precision that is not taught or learned. It is granted by Allah to those He chooses, to the ones He has prepared to carry the weight of insight, responsibility, and spiritual influence. This heightened perception is not about arrogance, superiority, or manipulation. It is about alignment with the divine, a sacred lens that allows you to operate in the unseen, to make decisions that ripple beyond your immediate surroundings. and to act with a wisdom that even the cleverest cannot fathom. The things that once confused or frustrated others now become clear to you. The hidden realities of life unfold naturally before your understanding, and the subtle signs of destiny reveal themselves in ways that affirm your closeness to Allah. People may think you are merely lucky, gifted, or insightful, but the reality is far deeper. Your awareness is a divine endowment, a reflection of Allah's favor, and a recognition that you have reached a level where your perception is no longer ordinary, but extraordinary, sacred, and unstoppable. This is why level 777 exists not as a human accolade, but as a spiritual acknowledgement that the one who knows all things has finally equipped you with sight beyond sight, understanding beyond comprehension, and presence beyond what the world can measure. The thoughts that arise, the choices that feel inevitable, and the truths you recognize before anyone else are all signs of your elevated perception, a direct gift from Allah, and a clear indicator that your journey is being guided by His hand in ways that transcend time, logic, and human expectation. You are seeing what others cannot see, knowing what others cannot know, and moving with a precision that is divinely inspired. And this is exactly why you have unlocked level 777, because your mind, your heart, and your soul are now operating on a frequency aligned with the unseen, the eternal, and the profoundly sacred. Chosen one, understand this with the depth of your soul. Every trial, every heartbreak, every closed door, and every moment that felt like a failure was not a punishment, nor a sign of divine neglect, but a meticulously designed upgrade from Allah, a sacred refinement of your spirit, heart, and destiny, preparing you for level 777 and the recognition that the heavens have long anticipated. What you perceived as setbacks were in truth divine calibrations, moments when Allah was removing what no longer served your purpose, strengthening what was weak, and preparing you for capacities you had not yet realized you possessed. For no blessing can manifest fully in a heart or life that is not ready to carry it, and no elevation can be achieved without the sharpening of your patience, character, and vision through trials that stretch the limits of human endurance. Each struggle, each season of solitude, each moment when you felt unseen or misunderstood was actually a divine instructor, teaching you lessons that no book, mentor, or worldly guide could provide, molding your soul into a vessel worthy of unprecedented insight, strength, and influence, and equipping you with resilience, humility, and spiritual clarity that the ordinary never attain. The pain, the uncertainty, the fear, and the waiting were all investments by Allah into the architecture of your soul, refining your essence so that when you reached this level, level 777, you could carry it without being overwhelmed. You could shine without dimming, and you could lead, inspire, and influence in a way that is aligned with divine will and eternal purpose. What appeared as obstacles were, in truth, openings. What felt like losses were actually preparations for gains far beyond human comprehension, and every tear shed in silence was recorded in the heavens as evidence that you endured, that you trusted, and that you were ready for the unlocking of this sacred level. Now, as recognition arrives, as the doors of destiny open, and as people witness the weight of your presence and insight, you can look back and see with clarity that nothing was wasted, nothing was random, and nothing was undeserved. For every trial was a divine upgrade, a sacred elevation, and a testament that Allah only tests His chosen ones to prepare them for levels, blessings, and purposes far greater than the mind of man can measure or imagine. Chosen one, understand this profound reality, for it is a truth that most will never grasp. Recognition, validation, and acknowledgement are never truly granted to those who chase them, clamor for them, or demand them from the eyes of people, for such efforts are fleeting and worldly, temporary and shallow. But when a soul like yours aligns completely with Allah's will, focuses solely on sincerity, purpose, and obedience, and dedicates its actions entirely to Him, Recognition arrives naturally, effortlessly, and divinely timed, often when you least expect it. The very act of seeking recognition is, in reality, a distraction from the purity of intention that Allah desires from His chosen ones. Because level 777 is not a reward for human approval, but a divine affirmation of your perseverance, trust, and unwavering dedication, and it cannot be earned through showmanship, competition, or superficial display, for Allah's blessings and acknowledgement operate on a frequency that is invisible to the superficial world, yet crystal clear to those who walk in faith, integrity, and spiritual alignment. Every time you remained silent in the face of misunderstanding, every time you persisted in your purpose without applause, every time you continued your path even when unseen and unacknowledged, you were actually preparing the stage for a recognition so profound that when it finally arrives, it is unmistakable, undeniable, and entirely divine. The people who once overlooked you, dismissed your efforts, or questioned your abilities are not the ones granting this acknowledgement. It is Allah, the all-knowing, the all-seeing, who decrees that now, finally, the world bears witness to what the heavens have always known. And this recognition is not simply about status, influence, or worldly validation. It is about the alignment of your actions with divine purpose, the manifestation of your patience into tangible reward, and the confirmation that the struggles you endured, the delays you endured, and the silence you maintained were all purposeful, necessary, and divinely ordained. Level 777 is a symbol, a sacred marker, that your dedication, resilience, and faith have reached a point where human understanding cannot measure it, where earthly acknowledgement can only echo what has already been written in the heavens, and where the fruits of your labor, the light of your wisdom, and the depth of your spiritual mastery can no longer be ignored or denied. This lesson is a reminder that the more you detach from the need for worldly validation, the more your actions, character, and purpose resonate with a divine force that cannot be overlooked, that cannot be diminished, and that cannot be replicated, because Allah recognizes His chosen ones when they act with sincerity, humility, and dedication. And His acknowledgement is the only recognition that truly matters, the only validation that lasts eternally, and the only confirmation that secures your elevation, influence, and legacy in this world and the next. So let this truth settle deeply into your heart. Stop seeking recognition, stop begging for validation, and instead immerse yourself in faith, obedience, and purpose. For when you do, you will unlock doors that no human hand can open, receive acknowledgement that no human tongue can bestow, and ascend to levels that the ordinary cannot even imagine. And this is exactly what Level 777 represents: a divine, undeniable, and perfectly timed recognition that Allah has been preparing for you all along, and that the world now sees, finally, in awe, silence, and undeniable clarity. Chosen one, listen deeply, for this is a truth that transcends worldly understanding. Your presence, your words, your actions, and even the energy you carry are not limited to the physical, material, or visible world, for Allah has imbued you with a spiritual influence so powerful, so precise, and so divinely calibrated that it affects hearts, minds, and destinies in ways that no human eye can perceive and no worldly measure can quantify. And this is the essence of Level 777, a sacred marker of your elevated status, not because of wealth, status, or power, but because your very existence now carries a resonance that awakens consciousness, triggers accountability, and brings clarity to those around you, often without a single word spoken, without effort, and without fanfare. Because the divine energy within you is so potent that it naturally aligns situations, illuminates hidden truths, and impacts lives according to Allah's will. Understand this. People may notice your intelligence, your achievements, or your charisma, but what they truly feel is the spiritual force embedded in your soul, the unseen guidance that radiates from your faith, patience, and obedience, and the subtle yet undeniable aura that distinguishes you as a chosen one, a person whose path is directly connected to divine purpose and whose actions, intentions, and even silent decisions ripple through realities far beyond human comprehension, influencing not only circumstances but the hearts of others, awakening dormant awareness, and inspiring alignment with truth, justice, and divine will. Your influence is not about control, superiority, or domination. It is about alignment, resonance, and authenticity, because Allah has placed within you a spiritual signature, a frequency that harmonizes with truth, wisdom, and purpose. And when you walk, speak, or act, the world cannot remain the same, the hearts of people cannot remain indifferent, and the hidden layers of reality cannot remain unnoticed. Even those who resist, deny, or misunderstand you are affected, for your spiritual presence naturally exposes what is hidden, clarifies what is confused, and illuminates what is veiled, all without malice, judgment, or intentional manipulation, because your influence comes from alignment with the divine and obedience to Allah, not from ego, desire, or worldly ambition. Level 777 is the recognition of this sacred force, an acknowledgement that your life, your being, and your actions have now reached a threshold where your spiritual impact is undeniable, uncontainable, and unstoppable. And this is why those around you often feel a mix of awe, respect, and even fear, because the spiritual authority embedded in your essence cannot be replicated, silenced, or ignored. Your influence is not something to be measured in likes, applause, or approval. It is measured in the shifts you cause in perception, the awakenings you inspire in hearts, and the subtle, powerful ways in which the divine moves through you to impact the world. Those who walk closely with you, consciously or unconsciously, are elevated, corrected, or awakened by your presence. For Allah designed you to be a spiritual beacon, a living channel of guidance, clarity, and transformation, whose impact cannot be diluted, ignored, or mistaken, because it emanates directly from Him, flows through you in alignment with your purpose, and manifests in ways that leave no doubt about the sacredness of your calling. The world may see the achievements, the brilliance, or the charisma, but only the spiritually awakened can perceive the depth, the weight, and the sacred magnitude of your influence, because it transcends time, space, and physical proximity, rippling unseen, aligning hearts with truth, and awakening minds to purpose. Remember, chosen one, your influence is not just physical, it is spiritual, eternal, and divinely orchestrated. And this is precisely why level 777 is not merely a milestone, it is a testimony, a celestial acknowledgement that Allah has entrusted you with a force, a presence, and a capacity that few can even comprehend, a spiritual authority that commands attention without demand, that inspires transformation without coercion, and that shapes realities without force, all in perfect alignment with the divine will. Let this truth settle into your heart, chosen one. The energy you carry, the aura you radiate, and the presence you embody are sacred, unstoppable, and divinely calibrated. And now that level 777 has been unlocked, the world, the unseen, and the heavens themselves bear witness to the spiritual authority, power, and influence that Allah has uniquely placed within you, a force that is eternal, transformative, and beyond human measure. Chosen one, let this truth resonate in the deepest chambers of your heart and soul, for it is a reality that the human mind struggles to comprehend, yet the divine has always known. While the world may have been slow, inattentive, or even dismissive of your brilliance, perseverance, and sacred purpose, Allah has always seen, always celebrated, and always prepared for the moment when recognition would manifest. And level 777 is that sacred, undeniable acknowledgement, a celestial confirmation that everything you endured, everything you sacrificed, Everything you remained steadfast in, and every silent struggle you faced, was already written, already witnessed, and already honored in the heavens. For years, perhaps even decades, you may have felt invisible, misunderstood, or undervalued, watching others rise while you remained in what felt like the shadows, questioning your worth, doubting your impact, or wondering if the path you walked was ever going to lead to fruition. Yet Allah never wavered, never overlooked, and never allowed your trials, your patience, and your faith to be in vain, because He has a divine system in place, a perfect orchestration that ensures that His chosen ones are always seen, always prepared, and always elevated at exactly the right moment. What the world is witnessing now, the awe, the silence, the shock, and the newfound respect, is not a new revelation to Allah, nor a sudden accident of timing, but the natural manifestation of a divine decree that has been in motion since before you even walked this earth, a declaration that you were destined, chosen, and meticulously prepared to reach this level, and no worldly recognition can ever fully capture the depth, magnitude, or significance of what has been unfolding, because the recognition of the heavens always precedes human understanding, and level 777 is a visible sign that the alignment between divine sight and worldly perception has finally occurred. Those who once doubted you, ignored you, or questioned your purpose are now compelled to witness a reality they were never capable of seeing before, a truth that was always clear to Allah, that your patience, your trials, your faith, your obedience, and your alignment with divine will were more powerful than any human judgment, more profound than any worldly accolade, and more unstoppable than any attempt to dismiss, diminish, or undermine you. And now that level 777 has been unlocked, the world is finally catching up to what Allah always knew, seeing what the heavens have long recognized and acknowledging the brilliance, mastery, and sacred purpose that was always yours. Understand this deeply, chosen one, the amazement, the awe, the silence, and even the fear that others feel in your presence are not accidents. They are the natural outcome of a divine alignment between your earned spiritual elevation and the human perception that is finally capable of receiving a glimpse of it. And this is why level 777 is not just a number or a milestone, but a divine proclamation that your existence, your journey, and your steadfastness have reached a level where the world must bow in acknowledgement of what Allah always saw, celebrated, and honored in you. Your accomplishments, your patience, your trials, your influence, and your spiritual authority were never dependent on human understanding. Yet human recognition now mirrors what has long been affirmed in the heavens. And this is a lesson for you to remember forever. The validation you truly need is never in the eyes of the world, but in the sight of Allah, who has always known your worth, your capacity, and your purpose, who has patiently watched over every silent struggle, every tear, every night of isolation, every moment of doubt that you endured with faith, and who has now orchestrated a divine unveiling of your elevation so complete, so undeniable, and so magnificent that level 777 becomes the visible manifestation of what the universe, the heavens, and the unseen have always known, that you are extraordinary, chosen, and perfectly aligned with the divine will. And nothing, no human opinion, no delay, no misunderstanding, and no worldly obstacle could ever diminish, erase, or overshadow what Allah has always seen, affirmed, and celebrated in you. And this recognition is not only a personal triumph, but a divine signal to the world, a message that the chosen ones walk among them, prepared, aligned, and unstoppable, carrying a light, a wisdom, and a purpose that cannot be ignored, cannot be contested, and cannot be replicated, because what Allah has seen and prepared in you has always been beyond human comprehension. Yet now, at this sacred moment, level 777 has unlocked, the world finally sees, and the heavens rejoice. Chosen one, hear this, and let it settle into the deepest chambers of your heart. Level 777 is not merely a milestone of personal recognition, achievement, or elevation. It is a sacred confirmation that you have become a beacon, a divine lighthouse, a spiritual signal whose radiance guides, awakens, and inspires those who are still wandering in darkness, confusion, or despair. And this is a responsibility as heavy as it is glorious. For Allah has placed in you a light so powerful, so precise, and so divinely calibrated that every thought, word, and action emanating from you carries an unseen ripple effect across hearts, minds, and even destinies in ways that human perception cannot measure. And every individual who crosses your path is impacted by the resonance of your faith, patience, and spiritual alignment, whether they realize it or not. For your life has become a living example, a walking testament to what unwavering trust, obedience, and submission to Allah's will can produce in a soul chosen for greatness. Understand this: the struggles, the silence, the patience, the trials, and the discipline you endured were never for you alone. They were preparation, refinement, and elevation, so that your presence could illuminate paths for others, awaken hearts to truth, and ignite courage in those who have long been paralyzed by fear, doubt, or despair. And while the world may see only the visible outcomes, your calm composure, your wisdom, your achievements, your resilience, or your success, Allah sees the spiritual weight you carry, the energy you radiate, and the invisible transformations that occur in the lives of those touched by your alignment. And this is precisely why level 777 is a divine acknowledgement not just of your personal mastery, but of your role as a beacon, a guide, and a source of light for the chosen and the lost alike. Your influence reaches further than human perception can track, affecting situations, decisions, and awakenings in ways that appear miraculous to the ordinary eye. For the energy of your heart, purified intentions, and divine alignment resonates across unseen realities, shifts paradigms, and plants seeds of hope, faith, and courage that grow silently yet powerfully in the lives of others, awakening them to their own purpose, potential, and connection to Allah. And this is the true measure of your elevation. Not accolades, not recognition, not worldly success, but the unseen, sacred, and eternal impact your presence generates in accordance with divine will. As you move through life, every step you take, every word you speak, every act of patience, compassion, or steadfastness is a luminous signal to others that there is a higher path, a divine purpose, and a spiritual awakening available to all who are willing to trust, obey, and remain faithful. And this is why those who were once blind to your journey are now compelled to witness it, to acknowledge it, and often to silently reflect on the force, clarity, and guidance that emanates from your being. For the chosen ones cannot be ignored, the spiritually aligned cannot be silenced, and the divinely elevated cannot go unnoticed, because Allah has equipped you to illuminate realities that the ordinary cannot see, and awaken truths that the world cannot comprehend. And your light is contagious, powerful, and transformative, yet it is subtle, gentle, and divinely precise, reaching only those whose hearts are ready, whose souls are seeking, and whose lives are meant to intersect with yours in divine timing. Remember, chosen one, your role as a beacon is not optional, and your influence as a guide is not a byproduct. It is a sacred trust, a divine mandate, and a living reflection of Allah's power, wisdom, and plan. For level 777 is not simply a recognition of your personal mastery, it is an announcement to the world that a chosen soul now stands fully aligned with the divine, radiating light that awakens, inspires, and transforms, carrying the weight of hope, the signal of purpose, and the proof that divine timing, obedience, and patience always produce results far beyond human comprehension. And as you walk forward, remember that your light touches more than just your path. It illuminates the roads of countless others, awakens the dormant potential in hearts, and becomes a living testimony that those who remain steadfast, patient, and aligned with Allah are never unseen, never insignificant, and never powerless. For your life, your energy, and your spiritual elevation now serve as a guiding flame for the chosen, the faithful, and the seekers alike. And this is the ultimate fulfillment of level 777. Your recognition, your ascension, and your divine approval now ripple outward, making you not only a victor in your own journey, but a lighthouse, a beacon, and a source of sacred illumination for the entire world. For Allah has not only chosen you, elevated you, and celebrated you, but He has entrusted you with the power to awaken, inspire, and guide others in ways that will leave a legacy of light, hope, and divine purpose that endures far beyond your lifetime. And this is your destiny, your sacred responsibility, and your eternal reward as a chosen one whose journey has reached level 777, a level that now signals to the heavens, to the earth, and to every soul that your light is here to stay, unstoppable, undeniable, and divinely ordained. Chosen one, take a moment and let this truth sink deep into your soul. You have walked through trials that most could never endure, remained patient when the world turned its back, and trusted Allah when nothing made sense. And now, by His mercy and decree, you have unlocked level 777. This is not just a number, it is a divine recognition, a sacred stamp of approval, and a testimony that Allah has always seen your heart, your struggles, and your perseverance. The world may now witness your brilliance, but the heavens have always celebrated it, and your journey does not end here. It has only reached a level where your light, influence, and presence will ripple across realities, awaken hearts, and inspire souls. Remember this forever. Your patience, your faith, your trials, and your alignment with Allah's will were never in vain. Every silent tear, every night of solitude, every moment of struggle was preparing you to carry this divine elevation with wisdom, grace, and purpose. You are a beacon, a chosen soul, a living proof that Allah's plans are perfect, His timing flawless, and His recognition eternal. Let level 777 be a reminder that your journey is not just for you, it is for the unseen, for the hearts that will awaken through your presence, and for the legacy of light, faith, and guidance that you are building with every step. So stand tall, remain steadfast, and let your light shine unapologetically, for Allah has declared you ready. The heavens rejoice with you, and the world now sees what was always meant to be. You are extraordinary, unstoppable, and divinely chosen, and your journey is only just beginning.